Hello, welcome to the Reframing Mindset podcast. We are clear my head of the thoughts that are preventing clarity to practice my speech, among other things. Episodes range from informative knowledge to funny stories about my experiences, and in the future, maybe include interviews. So subscribe and enjoy. Episodes drop every other day. Okay, so welcome back to the Reframe Mindset podcast. My name is Colin Smith Brooks, and this episode is going to talk about UWI Experience. When it was when I had two exams at the same time, on the same day, and yeah. So let's get into it. So it was, I think, second year, and then with my major, I had to do. My major only had took 30 credits. It was a short amount of courses, but spread out. So it was 30 credits or something like that for my major. So I had to, and to graduate, you need 60 plus credits or something like that. So I had to go out of my faculty and actually, or my department and stuff, to look for other courses to do to actually fill up those credits so I meet the credit requirement to actually graduate from the university. So second year now, I was doing that, and then with more credit, with more classes you're doing, you're getting more exams. And what happened with those exams is that through some of the courses that I was doing was outside the faculty, yet those faculty would interact. So I would do courses in a social science faculty and while I was in science and technology faculty. So those two faculty doesn't interact. So the exam dates that they will set is kind of independent of each other. So it's high, sometimes a rare chance, but sometimes I get exams on the same day or at the same time. And unfortunately for one of those exams, for two of those exams, that happened. So I don't really remember which exam it was, but all I remember about the exam is that there was one of the exam that the one so it was 2 days. So what I had to do now was go to the bursary or something like that, or go to the examination place and actually tell them about this clash that I had, and they said, okay, you're going to just come to our examination room, and then what will happen is you actually do the two exams those days. So you don't stay. So what they do, they give me a different time for each of the exam. So one of the exam I would do 2 a.m. and the next one I would do 5 p.m. So but I had to do it in the same room on the same day. So one of the exams now, the first exam was I think was harder and had more lectures, slides, and things to learn about for the exam. So I took my time and focused on that. But not only that, I had this kind of a procrastination nature where if it's not before the day, I don't really take the studying serious. I usually just study casually, and then the night before, I study hard. So that's what happened. The night before, I actually studied really hard for the first exam. And then when I look at the time now, I realize that, okay, the first exam is going to be let us say it was 1 a.m. and it's going to do it done at 3 p.m. I would have 2 hours and such to study for the next exam, which it would be 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. So the plan was, with the time I had, I said, okay, I'm going to study hard for first exam, and then when the second exam, when I finished the first exam, and I come up because the slides and everything that I was learning was on the computer, So I would have said, okay, I would have going to just go and do the exam, and then finish quick, and then come home, because I live on the dorm, and then come home and then actually study for the next exam, and then come back, and I was pretty good idea in my head, so go there now for the exam, ready and thing, take my time and look at the first exam, and the first exam was pretty easy and pretty nice, and I was, oh yes, man, like I was ready for it. So then I run through the exam really quick, and I actually just spend some more time to actually look over, because usually when I run through an exam really quick, I say, okay, something must be wrong when I actually doing these things really quick, So, but look through it over, and then I said, okay, time to send it in. So after I send it in now, I'm saying, okay, I'm ready to go leave now, because my computer is on my dorm, ready to go leave now to go study for the next exam. The person is like, yo, you can't leave. I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, you can't leave until you finish both exams. Like, what? So I said, how we are going to study or something like that. They said, you should not carry book and stuff with notes. I'm like, damn, bro, people write notes. So, so for like 2 hours, we just sit down. I was like, it's not like I never saw I actually look at some of the slides and stuff already, but it was just glimpse. And it wasn't only me alone in the exam rooms. There was more of us that actually had the same exams. They didn't clash, So I was sitting there and I was saying, damn, bro, I have to just wait 2 hours doing nothing, because I sent in my paper. So basically, I was just sitting there doing nothing for around 3 hours. And then, boom, when the first exam up now, so for like an hour or so, I was just basically sitting there doing nothing, because I couldn't look to anyone or anything, because they're doing the exam. So after the first exam done now, I was sitting there and just saying, damn, bro, I'm going, it's a mess. But what happened was other persons actually had notes and stuff, and actually carried book and stuff to study. So I actually go on and actually listen to them studying and stuff like that, and I realized that, okay, I actually got some of the knowledge down and stuff like that. So it was just more of a reviewing session for me then. And I end up going in the exam and doing well and doing okay and stuff. I feel prepared, but if you when they actually go, that those 3 hours was just me just sitting there being like, damn, bro, me legit can't study none at all for three. Like, usually I would have my study session for like in hours, so would I say, okay, I have certain hours to learn about this. I would just separate. I usually just separate that between how much time I'm playing games, how much time I'm going to study, But when I realized I couldn't really leave the room, I realized that, damn, bro, I legit could have waste like 2 hours of no studying, just sitting there and trying to remember stuff that I've maybe read. Yeah, it was demoralizing until I actually get the grade, and I realized that, okay, I did well, But it was one of those things that I never want to experience again. But I think it happened one more time. But next time I was actually more prepared, But yeah, so it's one of those things where if you're going to university, well, UWI, University of the West Indies, it's just one of those things they have to look out for, where if you have a examination clash where you have exam on the same day, yeah, you just have to actually prepare for both beforehand. Yeah, but Sometimes I have to look back and say, yeah, I went through a lot and actually came up with a degree. Not with the 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 um the standard that I actually wanted, but looking and going through this corona experience, I realized that regardless, some knowledge just helped me. Yeah, man. But yeah, this was a light episode. Thanks for listening. I look forward for the next episode. Mhm.
Well, this is the end of the episode. Thanks for watching and look forward for the next episode. To support this podcast, go to anchor.fm/cssb/support or become a sponsor for this episode. If you have a product that you want to have more exposure, DM me on the Instagram page, Reframing Mindset Podcast, or on Twitter at ReframingP. Either way would help. Thank you regardless for listening, and here's a preview for the next episode.
So usually know me. No, as I went to school in grade one, I was known from grade one to straight to grade nine by every teacher. Majority of the people, majority of the grade nine people usually know me and say, okay, um, it's my aunt's child or something like that. So I was known, and because of that, I usually get really protected, preferential treatments and stuff like that. But when I was in grade one now, my grade one teacher now, she usually called me my little scientist. No, but she, while she, know my aunt and know me as my aunt's nephew and whatnot, she would never give me that preferential treatment. Try to treat me just like everybody else, not just like everybody else.